Welcome, Blue Jay fans. Welcome to another episode of Talking Jays. I'm your host, George Long. And today's episode, we're going to talk about the Blue Jays 40-man roster and see who's on it, talk about each player, and then we're going to talk about which players may possibly be removed off the 40-man for these non-roster invitees who may make the team. So let's dive into the 40-man roster right now. If you take a look, Ryan Borucki, I don't think he'll be going anywhere. I think he's a staple now in the bullpen. Maybe he starts the season in AAA and they want to stretch him out to be back to being a starter. I think he's going to be a staple in that bullpen. I think they like that left-handed arm. Tyler Chatwood signed as a free agent this year. He's sticking on the 40-man for this season. Rafael Dolis is probably not going nowhere. Performed well last season, and I expect another season. Thomas Hatch, still a youngster. We'll stick on the 40-man, has some upside, along with Anthony Kay upside. Elvis Luciano still has upside. Elvis in 2019, I believe, youngest Blue Jay ever to record a win on the mound. So he's got some upside. Came from the Kansas City Royals. They picked him up on the waiver wire. Something about contract issues. His contract was voided because of some certain injuries. I didn't get into it, but I'll get into it more when I talk about Elvis later on when we do player profiles, and we'll talk about how the Blue Jays came about getting Elvis. Lively arm. He's only, 20, 21 years old, so he still has a chance to stick in the majors. So I can't see the Jays giving up on this kid on their 40-man. Take a look. Steven Matz picked up on a deal this year. Julian Merriweather has great upside. Patrick Murphy, I still believe has upside. I don't think he's going anywhere. Nate Pearson, we all know Nate Pearson. David Phelps just picked up this season as a free agent. Robbie Ray re-signed as a free agent. So these guys are sticking on the 40-man. They're not going nowhere. Tanner Roark, I believe, starting the season with the Jays. I would not be surprised if midway, he's got an $11 million contract on his final year. Listen to that crow chirping up there. His final year, so I can see mid-season. They may release him if he's not pitching well, and that'll open up a spot on the 40-man, bring somebody else in. They're going to bring another arm in, a top-notch arm, in the second half of the season, if not closer to the trade deadline. And maybe Tanner Roark will be expendable at that time. So we'll see who comes in. Can't see them going into the playoffs. And I said in the last podcast, yes, I'm saying playoffs. They're going to make it to the playoffs. You've got to have that mindset when you step on the field this year that the goal is to get to the postseason. There's no other way, no matter how they're going to set up the playoffs this year, if they're going back to just the two wild cards and fight and battle who wins that game. You've got to have playoffs on your mind. So Jordan Romano, not going nowhere. Has had a great season last year until he got hurt. Hingen, we all know Hingen. Ross is probably not going nowhere. Very versatile, can start, bullpen, and things like that. Trent Thornton, he's still got upside. I know a lot are on his case, but some like him. I'm willing to. Hopefully they start him in the minors this year and get going and be in that rotation down there. Hopefully you don't want Trent Thornton as your regular in that 5 rotation, because then it's I don't think he's there yet. I think he could get there as a rotation guy. He's just not there yet. He's still got to work on some stuff. Ty Tice hasn't made up to the majors yet. I like him. He's strictly bullpen all the way. In 2019 had no game started, and same 2018. But I looked at his numbers, 2.03 I think it was ERA. So he's built for the bullpen. So I kind of hope they can hang on to this kid. Maybe give him a shot this year, if not next year. And hopefully they can stick on the 40-man, because he has some upside. Jacob Waguespack, I think he's on the downside. This is a spot that you may see, if they need this 40-man spot, I could see them putting Jacob on waivers and maybe or maybe not gets claimed. That's a 50-50 gamble with Jacob. So, he's serviceable in a blowout game if you're going either way. So he's not a high-impact pitcher at all. So Kirby Yates, not going nowhere. TJ Zoik, I'm 50-50 on TJ if he still has some upside. Some games he looks brilliant. Some games he's just not looking brilliant at all. So, but hopefully he can stick on this 40-man. These catchers I don't believe will be going anywhere. Riley Adams, I like him. He's great. He'll be great depth down the road if the Blue Jays ever move Jansen or Reese McGuire. Gabriel Marino catcher of the future, 2024 and on. You heard it here first. He'll top Kirk as the number one catcher in the next 3, maybe 4 years. But this kid is something special. So look forward to him, Blue Jay fans. In 3 or 4 years, you're gonna like him. Bo Bichette, Biggio, Espinal, I don't believe is going anywhere. He's not getting booed off the 40 man. He does too many things well. He's not the flashiest kid, not the high impact player. Does things well, and you gotta love that. You need guys like that on your bench to come in and pick up. Give Bo Bichette a day off, or Marcus Semien, something like that. Give a day off, and don't have to worry about putting a player in there. That's what I didn't like about Jonathan Villar last season. You worry when he's in the lineup because he's so reckless on the base paths, so reckless defensively. Espinal just does things well, and that's what you want. You want that steadiness. Otto Lopez, out of the rest of these guys, you may see him. He's still young. He's 22, so he still has some upside. So it'll take something special for the Blue Jays to be picking up, third player. He's probably third on the depth of being not released, put on waivers to make room for somebody else. So we just don't know who all these players are coming in eventually, whether it's this season or next season. And so still has upside. Jonathan Davis, Blue Jays are and on. Great talent. I would have him. I'd keep him on my 26 man. We'll talk about that in the next couple episodes. But does things well, kind of like a Espinal. Does things well out there. Don't worry. You don't have to worry about these players, right? When they go take the field. Grichuk, Gurriel, Teoscar, George Springer, Palacios. Maybe a spot where he may have to get bumped for somebody you don't know. It only leaves them with they got 6 outfields right now in their depth or on their 40 man. So usually you need at least 6 in case you get 2 injuries. But if you look at Kevin Biggio, who can play the outfield, and I think that's pretty much it, right? So he could slide into the outfield if you get 2 injuries. I think they're okay, but again, hopefully, he still has some upside too. Nice player. If you take a look at Joss, I have him up here. I don't know how old he is here. He's only 25 years old. He'll hit 26 this year. So I'll go more into these players in the next couple episodes. I want to do some player profiles and things like that of each player up until the opening day. That's the goal, is to do some player profiles. Hopefully two an episode. So we'll do what I call P&P. We'll do pitcher and positional players. So we'll do that in the future, but I'll get more into these guys a little later on. By the time I start that, maybe the 40 man has changed. So as I did a podcast last night and doing one this morning, we just a quick change like that. Joel Payamps is no longer on the 40 man. So they got 39 players. They have now room to add one of those players who are in on non-roster invitees to training camp. So we're going to take a look at some players now who are in camp, who are non-rosters, who may have a shot of, as you can see, on the possible 40-man additions. So we'll take a look at some possible 40-man additions. We'll take a look at Joe Panic, possible. I think he's, out of all the players, I think he's the number one shot to make it as a non-roster. You take a look at Richard Urania. So I'm looking at these two. These are the 2 position players who are in camp. Who one of them will probably, hopefully, be that backup kind of a thing. So, and I think Panic has the inside track. Then we'll take a look at 4 pitchers here who are in as non-roster invitees. We'll look at AJ Cole, who's with the team last year, has a chance, an outside chance of making the squad. Francisco Liriano, good arm. Just my worry with Francisco is he just doesn't throw enough strikes, and if he's coming out of the bullpen, you need strikes out of your bullpen. You cannot have he cannot be throwing just too many walks. I've been looking at his numbers the last 5-6 years. It's walks, and that just kills you in the bullpen. Tim Meza, who was a player who Blue Jays had 2 years ago. The injury bug has caught him over the the last season and a half. He's another spot that may be an addition if he pitches well in spring training. May enter spot. release, maybe boot out. That we saw one of those guys like Jacob Wackesbach. He may steal his job. So he has an outside shot, and Anthony Castro has an outside shot. Player they picked up off waivers from the Detroit Tigers. So that's your six. Can't count. 6 players right now who I think have outside shots. I think Joe Panic has the inside track on that. If I was a GM, I think Panic right now is the only player that's going to make this squad. I don't. Again, you don't know what spring training does. So I've seen enough of Francisco Lirian over the years to know he's going to be who he is. Just too many balls and walks. AJ Cole, he is who he is. I don't think I would want to bring him back. Tim Meza, I think of all the pitchers, may have the inside track of all the pitchers. Joe Panic has the inside track over Richard Uranius. So that's the players who I think may be at it. Again, there's 1 spot left now. We're only at 39, so Joe Panic could slide into that, make that 40-man. So in order for Tim Meza to make it, we have to find out some possible 40-man subtractions. So you take a look, Jacob Wagesbach. I mentioned his name a couple times in that. I think he is the number 1 player who may be on his way out if a 40-man spot is needed. And then, you can debate with some of these. Ty Tice. I like Ty Tice. I think he's going to be a great bullpen piece. But he's another player. Otto Lopez is another player. Weak hitting infielder, but still 22 years old. Still has some upside. I don't think he'll go anywhere. And the same thing with Josh Palacios. I think he's sticking. I don't think he's going anywhere. So it's going to be tough, like I said, for those non-rosters to make it. And you gotta move one of these players to make room for Tim Meza. Do you want to remove Tim or take in Tim Meza and release and put the waivers Ty Tice, who could do the equivalent? One's a lefty, one's a righty, but Otto Lopez still has some upside. These are players that I don't think the Blue Jays are going to move on from. So there you go. That's your 40-man roster for the Blue Jays. Some possibilities to get to the 40-man. Some possibilities who would be leaving off the team. So thank you for joining me, and don't forget, going live Sunday. That's February 28th. Sunday. That's game 1 for the Blue Jays in spring training against the Yankees. Going to go live at 8 p.m. Hopefully you join. We'll get a discussion going. Talk about who got into the game that day, and talk about who needs some more time, and just talk about the Jays in general for 2021. And we'll get a kind of dialogue going. So thanks for listening, guys and girls, and I will talk to you later on.